Our quick tip for today is to be careful what you're posting on your personal socials. Believe it or not, clients are looking at your socials and things will come up. So be careful what you're posting.
Good tip.
This is the Top Secret Wedding Podcast, where we share top secret tips to help you take your wedding game to the next level.
I'm Annika, and I'm a wedding coordinator, enthusiast, and venue manager for one of the best venues in Idaho.
I'm Chris, and I'm a DJ, master of ceremonies, and all-around lover of weddings.
We're on a mission to improve weddings and wedding professionals everywhere.
Yeah, let's jump into it. I'm excited to interview you today, Chris.
Okay, I'm a little nervous.
Don't be nervous. So kind of just tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from?
So I'm from Los Angeles, a place called Reseda. If you've ever seen The Karate Kid, that's where he went. So grew up there and met my wife in 2007. We got married in 2008, came up here to Idaho, and we've been here ever since. We live in Rigby, Idaho now, which almost doesn't exist. It's a pretty small place.
It's pretty small, but it's cool. It's cool. And then how did you meet Nicole, your wife?
Through church, actually.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, she was coming down. She was looking for a congregation and happened to find the same one that I was in.
Just happened to.
And she fell madly in love with me and couldn't keep her hands off me. No, it was maybe the other way around.
Perfect. Okay, and what's your education and experience background?
Good question. So, I did get a bachelor's in public relations, which I don't really use at all, but I am grateful for the experience. The experience of getting a bachelor's taught me probably more than the actual
degree. Yeah.
So I did learn some valuable lessons there. And DJing, I mean, that's kind of been a constant educating experience.
For sure.
But yeah, got a bachelor's and I worked in that field for a little while and realized it wasn't really for me.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay, so you've kind of talked a little bit about this, but what do you do in the wedding industry?
What do I do in the wedding? So I'm a DJ, but I kind of wear a lot of hats on the wedding day, right? I play the music. That's probably the easiest part of my job. Before the day of, I do a lot of planning, coordinating with other vendors. I help with the timeline. On the day of, same thing, coordinate with the vendors, help with the timeline. And my goal, I tell my clients, my goal is to allow them to just be in the moment and enjoy the moments that are happening. And we, the team, can just take care of all of that stuff.
Yeah.
That's really the goal. And so to do that, depending on who's hired at the event, sometimes we have to do a little more, sometimes we have to do a little less. If we have a good planner coordinator, then we have to do a little bit less because they're taking care of a lot of those little details, like making sure that the utensils for cutting the cake are on the cake table before we announce it. If they're not there, then falls to me. So a lot of those little details to make sure that those moments are happening correctly.
Gotcha. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And why did you choose to become a DJ? How did you get into it?
Why did I choose to become a DJ? Originally, because I thought it was cool and I thought people would like me. It would make like the chicks like me.
Uh-huh.
It didn't work. But when I was 8 years old, I think maybe it was a little older than that. I don't know. But I went to this party that my friend was throwing. And they had a DJ there, and I thought he was the coolest guy ever. Not going to mention his name, because years later, I actually got in touch with him to, like, kind of say, hey, you inspired me to be a DJ, and he was kind of a loser.
Oh, no.
As I was I found out. But at the time, he was super, super cool, and that stuck with me. And so later, I started DJing for my church, and they had, like, these dances every month. And our congregation was in charge of it. And so I said, well, I can do it. I can do that better than the old guy that's doing it. So I did it. And then a professional DJ moved into my congregation and he taught me everything.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, and luckily he was a professional wedding DJ. So He taught me how to navigate that world of being professional in a wedding situation.
Mm-hmm.
So that's really what inspired it. And since then, I'd say probably like 6 years ago, I was working in a job that was kind of PR related. and I realized I was just not happy at all.
Yeah.
And I realized that DJing offered me all of these things that I was looking for in a job. And it was a little bit more, it was a little scarier and a little more
sure.
difficult to jump into because it was all on me. I didn't have an employer. But at that point, I realized it was giving me all the things that I really wanted in a job. So I decided to jump into that full time, and it's paid off, and it's been really good. My wife has been super supportive. Or she was really foolish at the beginning, but she could see something that I think I couldn't see.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, what is your definition of a DJ? You've kind of talked a little bit about it, but
I think it depends on the setting that you're in. So if you're in a wedding situation, a good DJ, I mean, let's back up. At its most basic level, a DJ is somebody who plays music, a disc jockey, right?
right.
They play music. But depending on the setting that you're in, if you're in a wedding situation, I think your job, because you're the one with the microphone and the music, you're the one setting the tone for everything, right? There could be decorations and all these other things, but the quickest way to set a tone is to jump on the microphone and say something. And that could be for good or for bad, right?
Yeah.
If you jump on the microphone and start throwing curse words around, that's going to set a tone,
For
right?
sure, yeah.
Versus if you jump on the microphone and kind of, for me, like I like to describe the love story of the couple, that's going to set a tone.
Yeah, it
So
does.
for me, I think a good DJ sets the tone through playing music and making announcements at a wedding. By extension, I think they also should have their hand a little bit in the timeline.
For sure.
But that's not everybody's style. And if you have a good planner, don't really need that. If you're at a club though, then your job is to just craft the soundtrack for the night, right?
Yeah.
Focus on the mixing, focus on the beats, focus on the songs, all the memories that the people in the audience might have attached to that music. Your job is to key into that and somehow give them what they want before they want.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
So I know this isn't on the little list
that's
I
okay.
sent you, but in my experience watching you at weddings, you definitely do get a chance to hop on and mix stuff together.
Yeah.
Do you enjoy that, or does that stress you out?
Totally.
Really?
It's so fun. Yeah. I mean, eventually, so when people come up, they come up and they see the board and it's got all these lights and buttons and crazy
it's a cool
stuff.
board.
It's super cool. And they're like, wow, I can't imagine how like you could remember how to press what button. But for me, it's like driving at this point. Like when you think turn left, you don't have to think turn on your, well, okay, some people have to think turn on their blinker because they don't, but turn on your blinker, turn the wheel, accelerate. I don't have to think about that when I'm mixing.
Yeah.
I just get to like play the instrument.
Just have fun.
And it's so fun. Because I get to like try different things, and with every crowd, it's going to be different. I'm going to have to mix it differently because this crowd, maybe they like Sweet Caroline played for the whole song. This other crowd, maybe they like the first verse, but they're tired of it. So I got to learn how to mix it that way. Yeah, it's fun.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. Okay, so then you do have a DJ company. So tell us a little bit about your company.
I do. So it's called Wildfire Entertainment. And for a long time, it was just me. Because I didn't trust anybody to go out under my name. That's a scary thing.
Yeah, for sure.
And so the last couple years, actually during the pandemic year, we exploded here in Idaho because everywhere else was closed, and Idaho was like, COVID doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So it was probably our busiest year up until that point. And so I had to, I guess I didn't have to, but I felt
you had to adapt,
I did. Like, I felt like people were asking for the experience that I was offering, and I could only be at one wedding per weekend or one wedding per day. And so I had a couple of guys that I started training for that experience. And so we've just kind of expanded on that. The next year, 2021 was busier. 2022 was even busier. Yeah. And so we've just expanded, trying to not expand too quickly to water down that experience, but also to not, I hate when people call and I'm like, sorry, I'm not available. Mm-hmm. So this has allowed me to help more people celebrate in hopefully an elevated way.
Of course, yeah. So with your company, how has it been with expanding and doing new hires and
Man, it's tricky. I mean,
It is,
because you
yeah.
do some of this with LaBelle.
yeah.
It's tough because I found that at first I was just wanting to hire people that I liked and that I was not threatened by in any
Yeah.
way. But I found that I kind of need to be threatened by them a little bit, right? I need them to be really good.
Yeah.
And it's tricky trying to learn how to wear the manager's hat
Mm-hmm.
at the same time also doing the performer and DJ and that whole thing. So I'm learning how to balance that. I'm still not great at it. And luckily my wife helps a lot with that. But yeah, that's tough. Learning how to train and coach and manage other people and let go of the reins a little bit and let them kind of take ownership and maybe make some mistakes here and there. That's hard to do. But if they're going to be good, I know I have to let them do that. Obviously, we don't let them make huge mistakes.
For sure.
But yeah, it's tough. It's tricky.
Yeah, it is tricky.
Yeah.
Okay. So I know Nicole's a big part of your company as well.
She is.
So kind of how does Nicole help? What does she do?
So Nicole's my wife. She is she's able to see things without bias, right?
Oh, that's awesome. That's a good trait.
And she's also not afraid to tell me when I'm doing something stupid. Lovingly, of course.
Lovingly,
she's
of
always
course.
very good at that. But
Yeah.
there have been times where she's seen me make announcements and she's like, Chris, that was kind of offensive. And I look back and I'm like, oh, I could see how that could be taken wrong.
Yeah.
So she's able to look at my performances and help me there. She also is able to help me choose better people to hire.
That's awesome.
Because again, she doesn't see it with the bias that I do.
Yeah.
She sees them for the qualities that they have. She's really, honestly, what it comes down to is she's helped me create a lot of polish. She's helped me polish the business a lot and helped me see the potential for what we could be doing, reaching for clients that I didn't think we could reach for. And without her, I mean, yeah, I'd probably still be doing $200 weddings. And without her, I'd be nowhere near where we are now.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Plus, she's really pretty, and that's stuff.
Okay. What does a typical day in your shoes look like?
So I like this question because it changes.
It does change.
So I haven't talked about this much, but I have ADHD. When I was younger, they said I had severe ADHD. I don't know exactly what that means, but I got it. So for me, one of the reasons that I couldn't do my public relations jobs is because I sat down at a desk, same place, every day, did the same thing all day long. Hated it.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't bad at it. I just hated it. And the cool thing about this job is there's always something different. The clients that I'm working with are always new. I mean, okay, I've had a couple of clients that they've gotten married twice, but
Have you really?
yeah, they're like, hey, Chris, getting married again. Can you come DJ my wedding? So it's happened a couple of times.
Okay,
but,
yeah.
Most of the time, my clients are brand new.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm always having to figure out new music, figure out a new love story for them, like write their love story. I'm constantly taking sales calls for different types of weddings. If I get tired of that, then I can go work on my website. I can get nerdy and code that stuff, right?
Yeah.
If I get tired of that, then I can do some music production. If I get tired of that, I can put together some long-term, I can't think of the word, but long-term tactics for building the company. Most days, though, we usually have 1 or 2 sales calls. We usually have 2 or 3 consultations a week. So that's planning with our couples, planning their timeline, capturing their love story. Then I'm also putting together playlists for them. I'm also putting together the timeline, reaching out to other vendors, either for a specific event or just because I'm interested in what a photographer's doing, right? And then the whole equipment side of things, sometimes we're just putting together the equipment for the events that week. I'm doing trainings with my guys. Right now we only have guys, for whatever reason, we don't have any female DJs. That'll come eventually, I guess. But so yeah, doing trainings with them, making sure they understand what they're doing for that weekend. So there's always something different that I'm doing, which otherwise I'd get bored.
For sure. Yeah. Awesome. Okay. What's been the most surprising part of working in weddings?
I think the level of emotional investment.
Yeah,
for me.
totally.
I really did not see. A few years ago, I took a training that really went into the emceeing side of DJing. And the basics, if I had to boil it down to one sentence, it was make sure that you're saying what you mean. So it by extension, I had to really feel the love that these couples had. And I hope I don't get emotional, but I had to understand this couple, and each couple, every wedding I had to understand who they were. And so then when I'm watching them have their first dance, like it means something, right?
Yeah,
and I really get emotionally involved. And I've kind of turned into a crybaby. I don't cry at weddings. I have some tricks to not cry, but I do get emotional at pretty much every wedding.
Sure. It's always funny to me how many times I will have a conversation with some wedding guests and I mention something about how, every single ceremony I get teary-eyed, or every first dance or father-daughter, like I always get emotional. And they're just like, what? You're not sick of it? It's like, no, like you invest in your clients and you get emotional.
Because it's not just another ceremony.
Exactly.
It's Gary and Janice's ceremony. And that's like, it's gets me every time.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. What do people misunderstand about your job the most?
Oh, dude. Okay. I think that my job is primarily music. I think that's it, right? When somebody calls me, usually the first question they ask is, how much do you cost?
Of course.
Which bugs me to no end, because you don't walk into McDonald's and say that.
Right.
Right. How much does it cost? For what? For a McNugget or for a Big Mac? Like, So anyways, so I think that's the first thing. But most of the time when people call, they don't understand the breadth of what I do.
Yeah.
And also they don't understand the variety of things that I affect during the day. Afterwards, they do.
For sure.
But beforehand, when they're searching for a DJ, they're searching for who can play music and maybe make a couple of announcements, which is what we do. But I think that a lot of the couples, a lot of the couples that hire me, they understand that beforehand because they're willing to pay our fee. But people that haven't searched for a DJ before, a lot of times they're like, how do you choose the music? And I mean, that's the simplest part of our job. The most difficult is creating the moments that music can accentuate. So I think that that's probably the biggest thing, understanding what we do as a DJ.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. What's a mistake you've made that's taught you a lesson?
So there's mistakes that I make every single wedding.
Okay.
Anymore, we don't make huge mistakes. The first thing that comes to mind is my first year of DJing when I was like 14 years old. I had a friend that was driving me to the gig. The gig was an hour away, 2 hours away with traffic. I realized that I had told my friend an hour later than he should have been there.
Oh, no.
And he was like half an hour late after that.
No.
And so we got to the wedding like 45 minutes during dinner.
Oh, goodness.
And so we're setting up while guests are eating. It was bad. So I won't make that mistake again. But after every wedding, we always ask two questions. We ask, what did we do well? Because it's important to be able to recreate those things. And what could we do differently for a better effect? We purposefully don't ask, what did we do poorly? Those are easy, right?
Yeah.
We screwed up playing this one song when it should have been this other song. That's easy. And we'll, kind of torture ourselves as we're trying to fall asleep that night about those things. But more importantly, what did we What could we have done differently for a better effect? Because that is where you lead to things that you would not come up with otherwise.
Yeah. No, I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So that's way smart. Okay. What's your favorite part of wedding days?
It changes for me.
Okay.
It changes for every wedding because every couple is different. So there are different points that are more important, right? So there was a wedding, Tristan's wedding, right?
Yes.
So this couple, this guy was kind of chasing her the whole time. And she liked him, but she didn't really know that she liked him. And eventually she realized this whole time, I mean, it was over a period of more than 6 years. It was like almost 10 years, I think. A period of this guy just kind of wanting to have a relationship with her. And so for that wedding, it was a ceremony, seeing these two finally realizing that they were meant for each other and getting married. Like after this huge journey, and just what, man, I'm having a hard time not crying right now because it was so special. Other times, I remember there was a wedding up in Montana where he was a quadriplegic and she wasn't. She was fully able-bodied. But their first dance, he kind of like moved his scooter around while she kind of danced around him. It was really sweet. Like it was so emotional. And so it changes for every wedding because every couple is different. So yeah, I don't know that I have one. I do love dance parties at every wedding.
For sure.
That's pretty
You do a good dance party.
And the last dance. That's
last
always
dance
fun
is
for me
cool.
too. Having
Yeah.
the last dance where it's just the couple. That's a constant favorite, but yeah, it changes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think we have a whole episode on this next question,
Okay.
but it's what are your wedding pet peeves?
Oh, dude.
So if you guys haven't listened to the do's and don'ts of weddings, be sure to check out that episode. But Chris, what are your wedding pet peeves?
Lines and luncheons.
Lines and luncheons.
Lines and luncheons. They serve so little purpose. And they're a really good way to ruin a wedding. I think there's other things too, but
those are your big ones?
easily.
Big ones?
Easily.
Solid. What's a common mistake you see couples make?
I think, I'm not trying to play footsies with
Sorry.
you. No, I think a common mistake is couples putting the emphasis on the wrong thing, especially when it comes to their budget. Oftentimes, all budgets are made up when it comes to weddings. Like, unless you've been in the wedding industry, you're completely just shooting in the dark.
Guessing.
Or finding some Google Doc that somebody else has made.
Yeah. Sure.
So I think couples putting the emphasis on the wrong things. So I'm biased, but I think that the experience that you have on your wedding day is more important than the flowers that you have on your wedding day. Not to say flowers aren't important. I think flowers are very important. Same with the cake, same with the food. But I like couples to think about, in 5 years, what are you going to look back and remember the most? And gear your wedding towards that. Yeah. Now, for some couples, that's going to be a dance party. For other couples, that's going to be playing lawn games with their guests. So I think that's probably the biggest thing that I see is couples putting tons of money to something that isn't really going to matter to them.
For sure. Yeah. Okay. What's the biggest challenge you're facing in your role, business, project, company, and how are you tackling it? Just any of those.
I think learning how to be a good manager.
Okay, yeah.
Frankly, I'm not great. I'm a really, really nice guy, and sometimes being a nice guy gets in the way of me being a good manager.
Oh, for sure. You are preaching to the choir.
Right?
Yeah.
Because like the other day we had an interview for a new employee, and we were sitting down and I'm like, I'll just sit wherever you want, And afterwards my wife was like, you could have been a better leader and said, sit right here.
Yeah.
And that would have made them feel more comfortable. And I was like, oh, I was trying to be a nice guy. They needed direction. And so that's hard for me to separate being nice guy versus being manager.
Yeah. Well, and I know like for me personally too, I always have a really hard time separating being the friend and the manager.
Right.
I have a hard time with that.
Yeah.
But ultimately you have to do what's best for your business.
The Michael Scott approach.
Yeah, exactly. It's tough. All right. What accomplishments are you proud of?
That's a good question. So I think probably the thing I'm most proud of right now is two. So number one DJ in Idaho. Pretty proud of that. That's pretty significant.
That's very good. Yeah.
And the other thing is the types of reviews that we have.
You have good reviews.
We have really good reviews. And it's not that we have 99 reviews right now. I need one more for 100. I'm so close. But the types of reviews, like sometimes when I read through those, like I tear up because I can see like the impact that we've had, and it just makes me so happy. So I think the types of the reviews that we're getting, which signals to me the types of weddings that we're doing, and that number one DJ in Idaho.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for interviewing.
Yeah, thanks for the questions. Great questions. Appreciate it.
Oh, you're not done. I have quick fire as well.
Oh, shoot. Okay.
So,
all right.
30 seconds. Okay. Quick fire. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Favorite color?
Blue.
Favorite movie?
Bernie.
Right. What's your favorite, or what's your perfect Saturday look like?
Great wedding in a beautiful place.
Okay. Favorite drink?
Sprite.
Favorite food?
Cheeseburgers.
What's your Hogwarts house?
I can't. Gryffindor.
Gryffindor. Yeah. Favorite holiday?
Probably Christmas.
Favorite wedding song?
Favorite wedding song?
Yeah.
Dude, I can't answer that.
You threw that at me last time.
Yeah, favorite wedding song? Probably. Okay, actually, I do have an answer for that. Probably our wedding song. It's called "If the Moon Fell Down" by Chase Coy. That was the song that my wife and I danced to. So
that's good answer.
Nobody else steal that. It's a good one.
Okay, well, been super fun interviewing you.
Thank you. This was fun. Yeah. Okay. See you next time.
See you next time.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Top Secret Wedding Podcast.
Subscribe, rate, and review us, and we'll see you next time.